rally in Melbourne, organised by Women's Voices Australia, descended into chaos on the weekend after it was disrupted by a pro-trans counter-protest which quickly became violent.
Street fights break out in the city. Fists fly as transgender rights protesters and opponents scuffle in skirmishes. Capsicum spray used to disperse crowds. A women's rights protest was organised for midday at Parliament.
It's women who are losing their rights, not people who have a gender identity.
Women's spaces, women's sports, men are encroaching on all of that. It is frightening.
I found it very difficult to walk past those people. They are rabid.
Joining me now, Senior Fellow and Chief Economist of the IPA, Adam Crichton. Adam, there was 4 hours of utter mayhem in Melbourne. Roads were blocked, public transport was disrupted, widespread violence, and I haven't heard condemnation yet. I may have missed it from the Premier, from the Prime Minister. There seems to be just this tolerance of left-wing violence.
Yeah, well, actually, I ended up in that protest, funnily enough, the trans
You're
protest.
part of the left-wing violence?
Accidentally. Walked around the corner and suddenly I was surrounded by all these rabid people. That lady certainly used the right word. It was shocking how vicious and horrible these people were. I was actually very depressed about Melbourne, actually watching it all. They were spitting at police, pushing police, screaming at police.
And yet there was only a couple of arrests. When you're talking about 4 hours of mayhem, of just lawlessness, I don't know how you can have just 2 arrests. You saw them literally spitting on police.
Yeah, well, one person did. They tried to break into the Vodafone store, strangely, on the corner. But just on your broader point, we always hear about far right this, far right that. But, you know, what are these people? These are extreme far left, and you never hear it called out.
No.
So it's extraordinary double standard, and it's very depressing. These people are extremists in the true sense of the word. I think they're very aggressive and can be dangerous. And finally, they're all wearing their COVID masks, and I'm not sure whether they're still scared of the virus or virtue signalling, or they just don't want to show their identity.
I think it's a little from column A and B and C, because I think given some of the antics, they'd rather not be identified by police.
Well, they probably don't have jobs, so they're probably not concerned about it.
And this protest was a 3-pronged protest. So they were there because the women were holding a women's rights rally, so of course that can't be allowed in Melbourne. But there were also an anti-Israel protest amongst them, and also an anti-police one, because there was a police shooting in Melbourne about a week ago. So it just shows you it's the same leftist crowd, whether it's an anti-police rally, whether it's an environmental rally, whether it's a trans rally, it's the same usual suspects.
Yeah, the police did a good job too, I must say. They were putting up with a lot. They were very calm under pressure, and I felt sorry for them actually.
Well, sometimes I'd like them to sort of show the attitude they showed with the anti-lockdown protesters, with these protesters, because they arguably went in very hard. Not arguably, they did go in very hard with what were peaceful protesters during lockdown, and now they have a very permissive attitude indeed. Also, more controversy in Melbourne. I'm going to be talking to Professor Ian Plimer about this.